Hello everybody, hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, I'm going to be talking about something that is a little sad, or not a little sad, it's actually really sad and pretty unfortunate. But before we get to that, yeah, I get it, my hair's looking like a mess, so we're going to pick a hat to wear for the rest of this video. We got the custom Gabagool hat right here, the NIC Blade Works hat, or the the Big Bear California hat. This one seems to get a lot of positivity and a good bit of attention. So let's just throw this thing on. I am planning to get a haircut sometime this weekend. That's why I'm looking like a homeless man right now. But it's fine. At least no one's asking me for money. So, this video is kind of out of the ordinary. But recently, recently as in just today, I watched Jim Skelton's video about leaving YouTube, and that's really unfortunate. Watched his channel for as long as I've been a part of the hobby, maybe looking at 8 years now, and I remember watching his stuff on things I had no idea even existed. Jared from Neve's Knives was another one, as well as Nick Shabazz. Yeah, Nick Shabazz. Nick Shabazz is the other guy. With Jim Skelton, he was showing off things that I didn't know existed, and I kind of looked at his channel as this archive of information, and there is no price tag that could be put on this individual's knowledge when it comes to custom makers and fancy schmancy this and application of that, or the craftsmanship of this. It's really cool to see that kind of stuff because they're kind of treated as a history channel in a way, or just again, just an archival library of really interesting things. That seeing that individual's passion towards something, to just be able to continue just adding more and more layers and complications and referencing this, and oh, this looks like something that this person does. They have this one model that kind of does this and that. It's very similar, but this was executed a little bit differently, and the tooling and the machining and where they source their materials for, or they make everything in-house, all that kind of stuff. The background, the history lesson that goes into every video he's made is wonderful information, but the videos tend to be pretty long, and I can see how his videos can probably take a long time to edit, especially if you're so passionate about something and you want to chop out a lot of stuff. On this channel, I don't hold back all that much. I don't care who's making it or who's it from, or what sort of legacy this and craftsmanship that. I don't give a shit. If it isn't built well, I will speak my mind, because I'm the one spending my hard-earned money to do this. I'm the one taking time after an 8 to 12 hour shift out of work. There was a time where I was making YouTube videos after working sometimes 6-7 days in a row with 12-hour shifts, and I was still making videos every day to every other day. And a lot of the times I would go hours and hours into the night, neglecting my family, my home life, my other responsibilities, just to be able to get started on YouTube and be able to create content. And I started noticing I was getting a little burnt out, and I decided to slow down. And that was a good thing for me, because that meant that I was not spending as much on junky things, buying things that I actually wanted, not trying to be at the very cutting edge of what is being released. Now, every once in a while, I do buy things that are just coming out, and it is nice to be able to be a smaller channel, right? But also a channel that is very transparent and has the ability to be able to do what I do. If you look at a lot of the big channels right now, most of them will essentially give the same energy, the same amount of information that goes into their unboxing video as they do their final review video. On my channel, things are a little bit different. I'd say significantly different. I typically don't review multiple knives all grouped into one video, giving them a spotlight of a minute and a half or 2 minutes. There are some channels that are really big, and that's okay. They have to do that just because they just have so many things just flooding their entryway to their home, just piled up with boxes and stuff that's getting sent to them, whether they paid for it or it's stuff that's in pass-around group or things that are sent for free from a company, which cool, great for them. They got themselves to that position. They have, they were grinding, and again, good for them. I'm not that envious of it, because I don't want to be in this sort of like unspoken contract with some companies. I don't think I ever want to get to the point where companies just send me shit without communicating to me first. But one thing that really inspired me to be able to make content and to just speak a little bit more passionately was Jim Skeleton's way of reviewing and breaking down things. A lot of content creators that have been upfront and honest, and they're just like, hey, I just reviewed something that's just like this the other day. This isn't going to take too long for me to be able to really give my thoughts about. Not trying to put anybody on blast, but Metal Complex, he is an individual that has been completely transparent with the community, his community, of course, that he has said many times, this is, kind of standard run of the mill. This is like, this brand is making their kind of bug out, basically, a really popular like trigger word. And I've bought into many knives, like this little guy right here. At Metal Complex, he reviewed this thing, right? And then he also was sent along the premium one, the M390 and titanium one. He was transparent and he was just like, hey, this is the same fucking thing. It's cool. Thank you for this opportunity, Miguron. But there will be a review relatively soon. The turnaround time of this is going to be, essentially nothing. I guarantee he has probably made review videos the same day that he's made the unboxing video, because he already knows what he's going to say about the knife. And that's okay, especially if it's something that's just bare bones basic and there's nothing really special about it. Olitons, small company, just came out, at least got on my radar within this year. There are legitimately only 2 or 3 other content creators besides myself that have shown this off. But none of them have shown it off to the extent that I have. Taking it apart, sharpening it, really carrying it, giving like real, genuine, substance-filled and rich content on this. Did any of them show off that you can flip the studs up so it's a wave feature? That's cool. Well, essentially on the surface, this is just another Kunwu Padre or what's called Rotten Evo, angry moose knuckle looking blade shape right here. This blade shape is really popular, but I made all my content on this well before I even was making any sort of commission or I had a discount code, well before any of that. I even sent my content off to Olitons. I said, hey, I love your knife so much. Can we do something about it? And I got ghosted for a little bit. Eventually they got back to me and they're just like, yeah, we can do something. And so now when I review stuff from Olitons, now I will attach links and things like that, but I'm still going to put out the same amount of content. I'm going to take the knife apart. I'm going to sharpen it. I'm going to be real with you guys. And I was able to find that out because of how I do my review process. I actually buy a knife like a consumer. I take it apart, I clean it, I sharpen it, I live with it. And then whether I love it or hate it, the passion fueled by the love or hate or whatever towards this knife is put into the final thought review. Which just makes me think that the other channels that have reviewed this and failed to mention little details like that makes me not want to watch them anymore sometimes. And I think, how many other times have they reviewed something that they missed something really, really big? Now, I'm not trying to get down on anybody. I'm not trying to call anybody out. I understand that these big channels, they get sent a crap ton of stuff. And it really isn't their fault that if they miss something really small. Because a stupid little wave feature, that might be too tactical, bro, for somebody. And it's just like, I don't really care. That's not really important to me. But on my channel, I'm not a tactical bro. But when I found out about this wave feature, I loved it. I thought it was something that was really worth sharing and really driving home verbally to the community. Now, going going back to the whole Jim Skelton thing, I think it's really unfortunate that he's leaving YouTube for all the reasons that he listed. And if you haven't watched his video, I mean, fuck me, leave this and go watch that. Come back if you want, I don't care. But the people that, you know, watch my channel, they're here for the brutal, honest truth. No one's gonna pay me, no one's gonna give me that free knife that's gonna make me just say good things about it just because of monetary value of a knife. To me, knives aren't worth all that much. I love them, I think they're incredible tools, but this isn't even like investment level stuff for me. I don't think of it like this. I shop and I make my content from an actual consumer standpoint, not so much from a big-headed egotistical reviewer standpoint where it's just like, yes, you must please me in all what I think is right. Now, I know sometimes I've given that vibe off to some people, and I do apologize for that, but my standards have only been built upon what I've experienced. I can only watch somebody and take their word as far as I can. And I don't trust people all that much. And I don't blame you if you don't trust me, because that's kind of how I, you know, go about living. It's not the healthiest way to live by, but it keeps you safe. And nowadays, you want to be safe with and really think about who you follow, who you support, what you know, spend your hard-earned money on. And with Jim, seeing how much passion he poured into his stuff and how heavily all the things he had to do, how hard that came down on his own personal life, that's something that I'm definitely feeling. Because at this point in time, I'm at a job where I make half of what I used to make. Yeah, half. If anybody can relate, let me know down in the comments. But it went like this. I had a job that treated me like absolute garbage, but paid me, you know, good. I was doing good, but only because I was slave to them and working so many damn hours. That's why I made good money. But my marriage was neglected, my home life was neglected, my health, mental, physical, everything all was neglected for the pursuit of money and buying things that just weren't really making me happy. So now I work in town. I now have weekends with my wife. We go out with what we have, which isn't much. I have a part-time on top of my full-time because that's what I gotta do. And even my part-time can't keep up with my needs, which is really unfortunate. You know, like, you got all these companies out here that are like, nobody wants to work. Nobody wants to grind. And I'm over here like, give me fucking hours. Like, I need to work, but I'm not gonna give you my weekends because I value my family. I value going to church. I value, you know, doing things for me. I'm a human being and I deserve to be able to enjoy my time. But I also don't want money and the pursuit of knives to keep me from enjoying life. And one thing that Jim Skelton mentioned towards like the middle end-ish section of his video, he was talking about how he was being sent stuff in the mail and how it was just a real drag on his life that he had to sit around at home because a multi-$1,000 piece, a one-of-a-kind, handcrafted this and that from the freaking furnace of Olympus or whatever, was gonna be sitting at his front door or needed to be signed for potentially. And he couldn't go out on simple little outings with his family. And you know what? It's a completely different perspective hearing that from somebody else. And it makes me think, you know what? How lucky am I to be able to do what I do here on YouTube, to be able to speak my mind, to have, you know, the freedom of speech and do whatever the hell I want with the collection, to customize things, to modify things, to talk shit about things, to praise other things, and still be able to go to the grocery store with my wife, to go to the park, to take the dogs on a stupid walk. You know, like, I get to go out and enjoy my life still. Do I make a lot of money? No, I don't. And I have to be smart with what I do bring in, which isn't much after everything's said and done with bills. But hearing that struggle and hearing that perspective just, I am completely washed over with gratitude for what I do have in my life. Because it's a lot. I actually do have a lot. While I don't have a lot on my bank account, I have a lot. I have a great support system. I have a great home life. My marriage is flourishing right now, and I'm super thankful about it. A lot in me had to change. And the channel wasn't a huge factor in why everything else in my life got better, but I just made do with what I had. And I don't want what's happening to, and I say this in the most respectful way possible, the older guys, because I am one of the younger guys doing this kind of stuff. I'm well under 30 years old. I don't want what's happening to them and their mentality being burnt out, of being pushed out by the YouTube algorithm or whatever their reasoning is. I don't want that to befall me. I want to continue speaking the truth, being harsh, being realistic, continuing to speak from the perspective of a consumer. For example, I got a lot of heat talking about this thing. Spyderco, a legacy brand. This is a wonderful knife. I love it. It's great. But I had a lot of words to say about this thing, and they weren't kind words. And it was mainly due towards the design to accommodate for the micarta variation. Now, I've been told and have confirmed that the full thickness G10 variations of this are constructed quite differently, and would have probably been a better option for me personally. But I was honest. I said, I didn't like how the finishing work was this. I thought it was garbage. I can't believe that I had to spend my own time to fix up the knife of how it should have felt from the factory. And there were people that had some words for me. But what they need to understand, and they don't have to, but you probably should, is that this is my channel. I am speaking based off of my experiences from the past. I have handled, 8 to 10 other Spyderco knives, whether I've owned them or I've held them in stores or shops or from out of somebody else's pocket. I know what a good Spyderco should feel like. And this was not it. So I was honest. I did my thing. I said what needed to be said about this, being transparent so people would know. So I do a lot of promoting for people that may not have a lot of money. For example, this is a large knife, quite similar in size, to this guy, the Native Chief right here. But the Glide Strike by Sendcut, this is a wonderful option. I've been able to convince so many non-knife people to buy this knife, to buy this knife right here. And these are, a lot of people would consider these to be like junky little knives to kick around. CGRB Pyrite Light. If you were to give this knife to a non-knife person, you spent $30, but you got them something that's gonna last them a long time if they actually use it as a knife. Not a pry bar, not a scraper, but as a knife, as a cutting tool. And I like to promote things that have genuine value. And this thing has been kicked around, it's been sharpened. The blade has been used so much that the PVD has actually been polished from how much shit I've cut through with this knife. Just goes to show you how much I actually do use my stuff. That's pretty much it. There really isn't anything out there that I can say to convince people that, I'm a channel that they should not necessarily buy into, but keep an eye on. Essentially, I'm promoting my own channel by being transparent with you guys. Do I want to get to a point where I'm getting stuff sent for free? Yes. But to the point where I have the availability to say, no, I'm good. I don't want to get to the point where companies just send me shit and expect me to give them only good words. Currently, when I've been reached out to by companies, they're really like small, no-name kind of companies, I will tell them, and I can't remember like word for word exactly what I tell them, but more along the lines of, hey, thank you for this wonderful opportunity, but just keep in mind that on my channel, I, speak the truth. I go based off of my opinions, what I believe is and isn't quality. I take the knife apart, I sharpen it, I actually use it, I test the lock's durability. And I'm going to be truthful with my people that watch my channel, because I don't want to be wrapped up in something that isn't good. I don't want to put my name, my face behind something that isn't good. If your product, if you think your product is, can stand that trial, I'm here. Send it over. And I haven't had a company tell me no, but there's been some times where I wish they told me no. I'm not gonna go on any names right now, but if you've been watching my channel for any length of time, you know that I have a little bit of history with some companies. And whether they like me or not, whether some designers like me or not, it doesn't matter, because I'm a freaking nobody. I'm a nobody that's just speaking my mind. And you know what? If something is good, if something is actually good, and that I can say, you know what? I didn't have that money to spend, but I spent it and I'm happy. Or I bought this knife that I shouldn't have bought, and it's so hard for me to want to let it go right now. Those are the knives that I want to promote. I want to be able to inspire the younger generation of people to actually spend their money on good tools, on high quality gear that's going to last them a very long time if they take care of it and use it as it's intended to be used. And that's it. That's how I want to run this channel. That's how it's going to be. I'm going to be transparent. I'm going to be brutal. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to piss a lot of people off. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed this video, found it educational. If you did, go ahead and leave a like down below. If you are subscribed, thank you so much. I appreciate all your support and your patience, of course. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, because I put my videos and content coming you guys this way. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.